Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and I am here to bring you another live paper crafting class here on YouTube. It is October 7th. I don't know why last week I thought it was going to be October 6th today, but it's October 7th and it's 11 a.m. Central Time as I am coming to you live. If you are watching after the live, there's still a place to comment, but if you are live with me, you can actually comment if you're logged into your Google/YouTube account. So I think a lot of you can see the chat off to the side or underneath, depending on how your view is. And it's so much fun. It's fun to interact with everybody. And it's fun for me to go back and read all the comments later. I can't watch them during very easily. It's hard for me. I get distracted and then I can't focus on what I'm sharing with you. But I have a friend with me. Her name is Trisha Josephs, and she comes she comes along with a lot of my videos as a moderator. I love her. She's so sweet. So she's going to be answering questions for you along the way. I keep looking off to my right here because that's where my comments are scrolling through. So please say hello, Trisha. Let them know where you're at. She's got a little tool, like a symbol next to her name. It looks like a little wrench. And she is there to answer questions, guide you to the right places. I have this project that's going to go live on my blog at around 12:15 p.m. Central Time, so about an hour, a little after an hour after this live has begun. And in there you will be able to find photos of all the projects. You'll be able to see measurements, supplies that are linked to my online store. Like I know that sometimes people are looking for certain things that aren't in catalogs, so always look to the links that I provide in that blog post. The blog post link is in the description of the video, and also I try to remember to put the supplies in the description of the videos in my most recent videos. So if you just keep scrolling down in the description, you'll be able to see links going directly to the online store where you can find that stuff. So there she is. So hello, Trisha. Thanks for chiming in, and thanks for everybody for sharing where you're from, how long you've been crafting. One question that I have for you today, though, because it's kind of, it's that pandemic age that we're in right now, I would love to hear your thoughts on how you're handling Halloween this year, especially if you have kids. I'd like to know if you're taking them out, what you're going to do. So chime in. I'm just looking for ideas because I'm at odds with what to do with my family and how to handle trick-or-treating this year. So anyways, on to the crafting. So today I'm going to show you how to make a gatefold explosion card. I'm going to use products in the Magic in This Night suite, which is found in our August through December 2020 mini catalog, but it's also found online. And I'll be using every single item from that suite. Now I got this idea, I got inspired to share this idea because my Stampin' Up! Mama, my upline, the person who I signed up under, Susan Campfield, she provided a gatefold explosion card as a make and take for us at one of our online events recently. And I said, you know what, I have not shared that fold yet. I've seen it in various Pinterest pins around there and Facebook lives from other demonstrators. So I thought I need to share that because I'm a fun fold addict. So I'm going to share that with you. Let me show you the card that she did for her make and take. So she sent us the supplies. We had to stamp the sentiment, which was not too hard because I already had that set. But she provided all the pieces for us, and we made this fun card. Isn't that amazing? It pops open, it explodes when you open it. And you can see why it's called the gatefold, because the two sides come together kind of like a little gate. So we're going to do a version of this, but we're going to use the Halloween products. Now, as you are commenting, if you have questions, you can tag Trisha in your question by putting the @ before her name. So you'd write @ and then Trisha, Tricia, and all of a sudden her name should be able to pop up so you can click on her and tag her, and then she'll be able to see your questions a lot easier. But yeah, if you don't know how to do that, just post your questions. Hopefully she'll find them and she can answer. Also, if you are commenting, you're going to get entered into the live prize drawing. So yeah, so do it. You'll want to get entered. You never know if you're going to win. This is the stamp set that I'm going to feature. It's called the Hallows Night Magic stamp set. I love this stamp set in that it's not too spooky. So those of you who don't like the spooky aspect of Halloween, you still have the ability to make it just kind of calm, right? But we're gonna throw in those bats today because I've used this set with other projects and I have not made them very spooky yet. This one's gonna be a little bit more spooky. We're also gonna use the designer paper that's in this suite, and that designer paper is called Magic in This Night designer paper. I don't have all the full 12 by 12 sheets because I love my papers. I use up my papers. So here are the, here's one side, and you get two 12 by 12 sheets of every paper. They're double-sided. You can see that there's bats in a couple. There's also just these little diamonds, and then I know there's a name for that pattern, but I can't remember what it is. And then there's these lace-looking designs that actually look like spider webs when you look close. We've got these stripes. We've got some roses or flowers of some sort that are in black and white. If you flip it over, there's a little bit more color added in Blackberry Bliss, Cajun Craze, and Pretty Peacock. And you can see those designs. Oops, I'm missing one, aren't I? Where did it go? Here it is. Because my sheets aren't all the same size. So we've got more of that spider web looking design with the lacy look. We've got some spiders now. There's the scary one. We've got some larger versions of the flower, some more flowers that are kind of colorful, and then we've got a couple patterns that are kind of monochromatic, right? And this is more like a wallpaper look. I don't know. I don't think there's anything scary in that at all. It's just a fun design. And then this one has little cobwebs in it here and there. So we'll be using that. We'll also be using the black glitter paper. Now we have glitter paper, we have glimmer paper. They're all the same thing. Basically, they're just wonderful paper. The glitter does not come off in your hands. It's a nice thin enough paper to cut easily. And let's see here. What else? Oh, the cobwebs embossing folder. So we'll be using that. And here's the metallic mesh ribbon. It looks like spider webs. It's pretty darn cool. And then we'll also be using the Iridescent Pearls. I feel like I'm missing one more. Oh, the dies. These are the Iridescent Pearls. In fact, if I take them out of here, you might be able to see the color a little bit better. So they're black pearls with kind of they look like oil slick droplets, you know, when you look on the road and you can see this oil slick and it kind of has that really weird rainbow look. That's what they look like. And then the dies that coordinate. So these are the different dies that we're going to be using. We're going to be using this smaller frame, the bats, and those larger bats. So let's begin. Let's begin. I'm going to take and do some cutting for the base of our card first. So the base of our card, we're going to use Blackberry Bliss, and we're going to use half of the cardstock in the vertical or portrait cut. So we're going to bring it to the 4 1/4 inch mark. So if you are new, I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. That's a lot zoomed in, Rachel. So there's the 4 1/4 inch mark. We're going to cut there. I'm going to share with you the measurements and supplies in just a minute, but I thought I would do some cutting first. So we're going to cut that cardstock in half. You can make 2 cards from 1 sheet. Then we're going to score, and we're going to score in at 2 3/4 inches. So here's the 2 inch mark, here's the 2 3/4 inch mark, and we're just going to score on one side. You could score on 2 sides because it's going to be a gatefold. So you could score on this side too, but I'm going to show you a different way of dealing with that. Let's cut one more piece. Let's cut a basic black. And for this one, I want to get the most out of my cardstock, so I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. The vertical direction or the portrait direction, and then I'm going to cut at 5 1/4 inches. So this piece is just under the size that you would need for a medium-sized card, okay? So we're going to emboss that. We're going to cut, hang on a minute, I got to see which one I'm doing. Yes. Okay, we're going to cut this designer paper strip. So this paper is 12 inches long, and we're going to cut it to 4 inches by 10 3/4 inches. So we're just making it under 11 inches. So it will fit inside of our card. So instead of 11 inches, we're going to make it 10 3/4. And we're going to set that aside for now. We're also going to cut a strip. And I think, yes, I'm going to use this one here because we're going to do a Blackberry Bliss version of this card. It's one of my favorite colors. For this, we're going to keep it 12 inches long and we're going to cut it 1 inch wide. Okay. And let's see, what else? I'm going to move these aside here. I've already punched out a 1.5 inch glittery circle. I've die cut some bats. And I've stamped and die cut this frame piece here. We're gonna stamp and cut out the larger bats. So we'll do that together, and we're also going to stamp and punch out some words. Now, I brought this in accidentally. I didn't mean to do that yet. But you can color on your paper. So I took and sponged color onto my black and white paper, and you'll see that in my last version of the card that I did using metric. Yes, for all of you who use A4 size cardstock outside the US, I have metric measurements for you today. Yay! I'm so happy. So just know that that card will be shown at the end. I'll show you the measurements soon, but you can sponge. It's awesome. So you can color that designer paper. All right, so now that we have those pieces somewhat prepared, we have a little bit cleaner desk, okay? That was my goal. We'll need to keep some of these tools here, but let's go to the measurements. I'm gonna make sure my computer's ready here. And oh, I found something really cool on the Word program here. Look at this, you guys. You're gonna be so proud of me. I'm getting more techie. Ooh la la! Now you don't have to see all those things on the outside of my computer screen. I don't know what version this is called. Focus. It's called Focus version or something. Anyways, if you're on a Word program, it's down. I saw it down in the lower right. But I clicked on it and it made my paper turn I love it. Okay, so what we've got here is the Blackberry Bliss cardstock. We're scoring it parallel to the short side at 2 3/4 inches from each end. But again, I'm going to show you how to do it without doing it with the trimmer on the second one. We've got our basic black cardstock cut. Our Whisper White is for scraps. Black glitter paper is also for scraps. And then the Magic in the Snipe paper, you can see again, I cut it to 4 by 10 3/4 inches. And then we're going to score parallel to the short side at 2 and 5 inches from each end. But this time we're going to do them each with the trimmer. We've got our belly band strip, and we'll also be using metallic mesh. Now, if you're a metric person, if you use centimeters, there you go. You can take a screenshot if you'd like to, or you can come back and visit my blog post at 12:15. So an hour and 15 minutes after this has begun, okay? What else? So here's all the supplies too, and the supplies can be found in the description of the video. All right, are we ready? I want to also mention that that it's my cousin's birthday. Her husband texted this morning. So Kelly, shout out to you. Happy birthday to you. Yay, Kelly. Okay, so here's that designer series paper, and we're going to score that at 2 5/8. So we're just going under the 2 3/4 inch mark. We're going to use our scoring blade, which is the light gray one, and we'll just put a little crease there. We'll flip it around. We'll do the same thing to the opposite side. Now, for the reason why I'm scoring for both of these, and I'm not going to do the trick I'm going to show you on the cardstock base, is because these aren't going to meet in the middle. Okay, these are going to meet a little spaced apart. So we might as well have them measure that way. Oops, I want to go this way with it. Okay, so you can see they do not meet in the middle. There's a gap, okay? But for this, we want them to meet in the middle. So after we have scored and folded one side, using my bone folder just to make sure that crease is really nice and sharp, then we're going to take this side and we're going to fold it in. We're going to kind of loop it first, okay? And then we're going to make this edge touch this edge. Now, if you're doing this and you flatten out too much here to begin with, you could kind of mess up your score. So you want to first bring that edge over to the other edge to meet, as if they're kind of kissing. And then you can flatten down this side here. Now they meet in the middle. You don't have that 16th or 1/32 of an inch gap or anything like that. So they're perfect. This piece is going to go on the inside of that. It's going to fit in here with the bats going in the right direction, but we need to make it explode. So to do that, I'm going to grab a pen. And I'm grabbing a pen. You could grab a pencil, you can grab whatever, but I'm grabbing this because I want it to be dark enough to see. So we'll take our ruler on our trimmer and we're just going to measure the halfway point between 0 and 4 inches. And I'm just going to mark that with my pen. So at 2 inches down, and I'm doing it on the side that you're not going to see. This is going to be attached to the card on the inside. So again, just marking 2 inches here, flip it around, and 2 inches here. Now we can go ahead. See, it's good if you have a dark marker because we are trying to write on top of this designer paper, which has black parts to it, so it's a little bit harder. Can you see that mark there? So I made a little mark right here. Now we're going to do some more scoring. So we're going to line up that mark in the channel of our trimmer, right in this area here, and we're going to, and I'm going to keep this closed here, okay? Do you see, I'm not going to mark it with my pencil or anything, but I'm going to show you. This center, okay, there's a center to this gap. There's a gap going through here, and we're going to aim right at that center. So from there to the center, and we'll use our scoring blade, and we'll just put a crease. We'll flip it this way, and we'll do the same thing. Happy birthday to all of you who are celebrating birthdays today. All of you October birthdays. In fact, my son, my oldest son, Nick, he had his 15th birthday this month. So he is excited to start driving. He's excited to look for a job because a lot of places don't hire until you're 15. Oh, the joys, right? All the fun stuff ahead. Okay, so now we've scored on those diagonals. And you can't really see the score marks because it's patterned paper and yeah, hard to see. But now we're going to go ahead and do some crease marks. So we're just going to go like this, back and forth, just to kind of emphasize where those folds are. Okay. And I'm going in both directions. It doesn't matter if you do it in one direction or the other, but I think it helps to kind of make that paper more pliable, because we're going to turn those folds in on themselves like this. Can you see that? So, and they're actually going to overlap. You can see how they're starting to overlap as they come together, and that's okay. Now, as we fold it in this direction, we want to make sure that these stay lined up. So, always do this too before you assemble the card. Kind of make sure that the creases are working for you. So again, we'll invert these to bring the points inward. And then we'll flatten it out. And you can see how I could flatten it out kind of off kilter here. So you got to shift it with your hands and flatten it out. All right, the inside fold is ready for our card. So what I'd recommend doing here is not keeping it in this direction. I'm going to zoom out a bit here. When you keep it like this and you're trying to line it up and put it in here, it kind of can get tippy. So we're going to make these folds go back the way they were when we originally started. We're going to push them inward like this. We're also going to put adhesive along the edge here and as close to the corners as possible. And we're going to put a little adhesive down through here on each side. To do that though, I think we should have it back and into a triangle shape. And I'm going to bring in one of my favorite adhesives for this. I'm going to go out of my focus view here. You guys don't need that anymore. Take that out of the way. I want to see the comments rolling through. There we are. All right, so I'm going to make this go right up to that edge. and as far into the corners as I can. So at this point, I'm going to use my paper snips and trim it. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with this side. Go right up to that edge. How many of you are making Halloween cards to send out to your relatives and friends? Some years I don't, I have to say, I don't do the Halloween cards. I just work on the candies, but most of the time I remember to send them out. Especially this year, you know, we got to, right? Because we don't get to see a lot of people. So sending those cards is a good thing. Makes us feel good. It makes them feel loved when they receive them. Okay, so there's where our strips of adhesive are, right up to those edges. And then I would just say, you know, you can take that tear and tape adhesive, or you can take like a tape runner or whatever, and you can put some more adhesive right along the rest of the triangle. So we'll do that in here. And try to go close to those edges. Rachel's so used to the flick, I have to remember to turn my wrist. All right, so there we have tape on our triangle sections. Now we open it back up and we push these so that they are back to being just a folded, like gatefold card, okay? We'll bring this in, keeping these flat. Oh, making sure the bats are going in the right direction. I'm laughing because I did that on my other card. I actually had to rip the thing apart and re-tape it. Okay, so we're laying this down so that you can see 1/8 of an inch on the top and on the bottom. And then we're just gonna fold this out and see if it folds flat. We're not gonna tape it down yet. It's looking good. Okay, so now at this point, I would make sure that it's going to fit in this space by folding these edges up, and then I would just fold flat right on top of it, keeping it really tucked well in there. Open it up again, tuck, keep opening back and forth to make sure it's all lined up. That side looks good. Do you see how I did that? I kind of went back and forth because if you're gonna have, I'll show you when this is done, but you're gonna have a little bit of a gap when this tries to open up all the way. There's a little bit of a gap in there because you're inserting a piece into a fold, and it's just natural that it's going to do that. Okay, now this side. Open up. Okay, everything's lining up really well. So you can see that I've got this little 1/8 inch all the way around. You can see that when I try to open it up, I get kind of a little, you know, bowing there, and that's okay. Oops. We for sure want it to close more so than we need it to open. So as long as it'll close, that's the most important. Okay, now that we're almost done shifting this around. Sorry, had something loosen up over here. Okay, now that we're almost done shifting that around, now we can come in and we can peel off the backing for our tear and tape adhesive. This stuff is going to be awesome to bond this card in place. Take and burnish with your bone folder. And then we can push these pieces back out. I didn't tape anything in here because I don't want it to pucker and to, you know, have issues with creasing. I just want it to be able to close and open. All right? Okay, this piece I've already stamped and die cut with the frame from that die set. Here we go, right here. So I use this one here, okay? And we're gonna stick that right inside. Oh yeah, I have a dirtier version on the other side. I don't know how, but I've been playing around with some inks lately and maybe I had ink on my hand. So that's gonna go in here. Try to make it as straight as possible and centered as possible. And then I also already die cut my little tiny bats. So we're gonna take the tiniest of the bats, and we're gonna put him on with a glue dot in the middle of his body, or her body. It could be a girl bat. And that's going to line up with the top and the bottom corner sections there, just like that. All right, now we get to emboss this. We're going to set those aside for later. We get to stamp and die cut some bats. So why don't we get our scrap cardstock out and our inks. We're going to use the Tuxedo Black Memento ink along with those fun big bats. Now they come together, so that's why, of course, the die cut is together also. So once you stamp, you can cut them out at the same time. So we're inking that one up. I'm going to stamp that. And I think since I have the ink open, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on my other scrap white with my sentiment, because we're going to punch that out. All right. So let's bring in the machine. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Otherwise that machine's going to look super huge. Here we go. Here's our new Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. Love this. And we need our platform. So platform is number 1. Then we're going to need the thin die adapter. That's number 2. And then we're going to need, oh, you know what? Oh yeah, this is what I did. Okay, so then I brought in the magnetic plate. That's number 5. And then I've got my cutting board, or my cutting mat, which is number 3. And it shows you how to make the sandwiches on the platform, on this die adapter. So we'll lay our paper on here, and then we'll line up our die. Hopefully you can see that. We'll line up our die on top of our image. And the magnet is helping to hold it in place. And then we're going to just put this cutting mat on top, and we're going to crank it through. Sorry about the movement on the table. So there's our beautiful bats. We have 2 more bats to add to our card. I call them beautiful because they're so lacy. They're so pretty. Let me show you one up close. Oops. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then for this one, we're going to punch with our, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Our 1.5 inch circle punch. And always punch upside down when you have something stamped on it so you can line it all up. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to emboss that black cardstock. So here's our 4 by 5.25 inch basic black cardstock. We're going to use our 3D Cobwebs embossing folder. Just place that inside there like that, making sure that our cardstock is within the image, because sometimes if you push it too far in, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of the cardstock that's not going to be embossed. So you have to make sure it's centered. And with cobwebs, it doesn't matter if the paper is tilted a little bit in there. Okay, for this, we want to take off our thin die adapter and our magnetic cutting mat. We're going to place it directly on the platform, and we're going to use, because this is a 3D embossing folder, we're going to use number 4. So this one here just adds that thickness that we need for the sandwich in order to emboss it. Regular embossing folders don't need this one, but the thicker ones do. Okay, and we'll crank it. And I love the look. You guys are gonna love this. So much fun. A lot of people are taking and they're putting white ink carefully on the surface of their paper so that they make the cobwebs really stand out. I wanted more of a subtle look on mine. You could even take, if you're gonna do embossing onto colored cardstock, you could take like Versamark ink or the same color, coordinating ink, and go on top just to emphasize the cobweb more. But I love it as is. So we went up to the cabin this weekend and my toe was feeling pretty good, after I had about 9 hours of sleep one night. And I decided that I was going to run. Not fast, but I don't know if I was chasing one of my kids or what was happening, but I decided to run. And I don't know. I think I might have injured it again because it has been swollen the last 3 days. So, oh, Rachel. Okay, we're going to add this layer to the top of our card, and we're going to add it just to the left side. So here I'm bringing in the tear and tape adhesive again because I want to make sure that it's held real well to that side. And then I'm going to put some tear and tape on one of these edges, like that. Oh, I tore it off too late. So we'll just have to fold that over onto itself. I'll show you how to do that. So you don't have to take and cut it exactly to size. All you have to do is just go like that, okay? So this piece is going to lay down, and I'm only exposing one side right now. In fact, you know what? Oh, we'll leave it like that. Okay, so we're gonna lay this on here, and we're gonna center it, making sure there's 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And once I've laid the right edge down, I can take and let go on this side and seal that. Then I can lift up and I can add just a little bit more adhesive through the middle if I want to, and peel off the backing on our tear and tape paper to make that go down. So now I've got that panel on the front, which just kind of hides the seam. You wouldn't necessarily have to do that, but I love the way Susan did that on her Snowflake Splendor version of the card. Okay, so we're almost done. We've got our belly band. So our belly band is going to be on here with this designer paper. It's 12 inches, and our cardstock, remember, is 11 inches when it's totally straight. So when it's closed, 5.5 by 5.5 together again is 11 inches. We're gonna have an inch overlap. I wanna warn you though, if you're doing this in the metric measurements, that the overlap is super tiny because the cardstock that's A4 size in Europe and elsewhere is a little bit longer than 11 inches. It's more like 11 and, I don't know, 3/4. So it's even beyond that. You don't have a lot of overlap here. So what I would recommend when you put the tear and tape adhesive on to bond them together is, and I'll just demonstrate with this one here, is you go like this. So you put it on so it's halfway on the end, and then you can do that same trick where you peel off the back like this, and then you fold it over, and then you have a really, really thin piece of adhesive, but a strong adhesive to hold it down. So that's my recommendation for those of you doing the metric version. So yes, you wrap this, and we're gonna wrap it with a pretty tight, not super tight, but you don't wanna have it loose, okay? Because this has already got a lot of curve to it already, the card does. And because of the way it's folded, you can take and kind of bend it a little bit to slide the belly band off and on. So if it's too loose, you're gonna put the card, you know, you're gonna move the card or whatever, and this thing's just gonna shift around on you. So don't make it too loose. So there we have that. We have our belly band on there. And then we're gonna grab our mesh ribbon. So our metallic mesh ribbon, we're gonna grab about 26 inches of it. So there's 1 foot, 2 foot, I don't know, about there. Sometimes I don't measure with a ruler. We're gonna fold it in half, and we're gonna start from the back side, and we're gonna bring it to the front folded, making sure that the ends are pretty even. So if we need to tie our bow off to this side, that's totally fine. Wherever you can make it so that you do your knot in the middle. Okay, so we've got kind of even ends here, and now at this point you do not need to have it folded. You can if that helps you to do your bow, but I'm not going to. So we're going to tie our bow, and then we can shift the ribbon. So we can slide it this way or we can slide it this way. You can move it at this point wherever you want it to go. And I think I'm going to have it off to this side. I can also adjust the loops by grabbing the loop with my finger inside of it and pulling on the leg that's attached to it, doing the same thing on this side, and then I can tighten it like that. Let's grab our dimensionals. We're going to put one here oops, it has to be on the belly band. Don't make it come off the belly band. And then one over here. So on either side of the center of our bow. Oh, we got to make our little sentiment piece. So for our sentiment piece, we're going to make a layer for this circle piece by just trimming it in half. Some of you may have noticed I've got 2 scissors here. One of them is marked with a ribbon. That means that I only cut ribbon with that. I don't cut any paper with that one because paper dulls a lot faster than fabric does. And so I cut only my ribbon with that one. Okay, so I've cut my glimmer paper in half, and now I'm going to put glue dots on the back side, kind of along the perimeter of this circle. All right, because glue dots stick to, I have one here too. Glue dots stick to glimmer paper a little bit better than some other adhesives. So we want to make sure that this is really sticking. Okay. So now we can just come in and we can lay that behind like that, so it's kind of shadowing that one side. And if you like that, you don't even have to cut your circle in half. You can just do that shadow look, or you can bring the other half onto that side. And that's how you get kind of a little layered look, just cutting that punch in half. And we'll remove the dimensionals here, dimensional backings, I should say. We're going to center this. And if, you know, I'm just going to tell you this. If you feel more comfortable, because I think on my other ones they're starting to come up, I'm going to do a couple layers of dimensionals here. So a layer of 2 dimensionals. I think that'll help, because one of them, it was popping up the other day. Okay, so we're going to lay that on here. And yeah, now they can grab a lot easier. So that's on there like that. Then you can come in and trim the ends of your ribbon. I can't wait to show you the other versions of this, you guys. Okay, then let's open it up. We're not going to do the final embellishments quite yet. We want to put our bats, these guys, on the inside. So you can use, you know, a tape runner adhesive, or you can just take and grab those glue dots again, put a few on the back side. Oops. So we've got glue dots on the back of that bat, and we'll do the same thing with this one. I'm going to have lots of these cards. I definitely will have Halloween cards to send out. All right, so then these can just, you know, you got all these bats all over here, so then you can kind of angle these here. Now I was playing around when I created this card, and I thought, what if I put the bats hanging over the edge here on the left? But then what happens is the bats then come off your card, so you don't want that to happen. They all have to stay within. So we'll put the belly band back on. It is easy. I'm just fumbling. Okay, so there's the belly band. We're going to grab our bats, our extra 2 bats here. Put a glue dot on the back side of each of those. We're going to bring in our iridescent pearls. These bats kind of help to hold the ribbon in place too. Now bring in our iridescent pearls and our take your pick tool. By the way, I did mention the Blackberry Bliss ink. That's what I stamped the inside sentiment with. Sorry, forgot to mention that. Now your pearls, if you look, they kind of have different shades to them. Some of them have a bluer look, a greener look, a more purple look. So I want this card to have more of a purplish kind of pearl on it. I'll put one there. Then I'll put one maybe up here. And I don't know, 3s. It's good to have them in 3s. I'll put one under here, and you know what? It's going to shine through the mesh, but you might not want to put it directly on that mesh ribbon, because there's enough threads in there where it will only stick to the mesh ribbon instead of the paper underneath. So there is that finished card. Magic in this Night Gatefold Explosion card. Let me show you couple other versions. So again, here was Susan's version. It goes like this. Now you'll notice her paper went right to the edge, but I found that that was a little more difficult to line up. So that's why I trimmed mine down a bit. And then, yeah, hers was exactly 11 inches long. And then there's this one, and I'll just open up this other version here so you can see the inside, side by side. And we'll zoom out just a tad. There it is. So this is going to be on my blog at 12:15 with photos. Now I want to show you the other versions. I'm so excited to show those off to you. So here are the other ones. This is one done with Cajun Craze, and the reason why I chose the Cajun Craze color is because it's also part of the designer paper. It's in the it's on the back side of the gatefold portion, or the explosion portion, and you kind of see a hint of it. So I thought, well, then we have to make Cajun Craze one of those colors. The pearls, the iridescent pearls, also have that orangier look to them. I made the sentiment off to the right on this one. The designer paper is the one that has, let's see, oh, it's got the bats on one side and the flowers on the other, so it's the one that we used on the inside of the last card. And on the inside of this, see here you can see a hint of that Cajun Craze. That one has a ton of real intense bats in it, doesn't it? So I used the bat paper on that one. That was actually the first one I made. And then I wanted to make other colors because that's what I do. I can't just stop at one version of a card. I have to keep going. So let me show you one more. And this last one is done in the A4 size. Okay, so here is the third one. You can see I've got two tones in this one. I've got Granny Apple Green and Cajun Craze, and that again is because of the designer paper on the inside. So we slide this off. Notice, oh, first, before we do that, notice the difference. So you can see that letter size cardstock is a little bit shorter and a little bit wider than A4 cardstock. So there is a difference, and that's why we can't easily convert things to metric sometimes. So, all right, here we go. That one looks like that. And again, because I had Cajun Craze on the inside. So you'll see photos of all of these. The prizes today relate to our project, as I try to always do, right? So lay these out like this here. All right, so the prizes today are, well, there's two things to the prizes. So you're gonna get these beautiful bags that are pre-printed. They're cellophane bags and they're gusseted, so you could put some candy treats in them. And then you're gonna get a half a pack of those iridescent pearls if you are the winner. The winners next week that I will draw after the live is over and we've had a week of other comments rolling in, will also get that same prize, but I'll draw you a week later, which means I have prize winners from last week. So I have to share who those people are. Let me put these aside. Our prize winners from last week. Let's pull up that sheet here. All right, get that out of the way. There we go. Yay for Faylene and for Mamu. You are the winners of last week's prizes. Do you see that there's a couple other names on there too? So if your name is Linda Jones or Becky Ray, I still have not gotten an email from you. Please email me at stampyourartout.com. Here, you know what? I'm going to type that in here. Stampyourartout at Comcast. Oh, not two C's. Comcast.net. That is my email. So here, can I make it bigger? I think so. Oops, I want to go bigger. I don't have my little symbols up here. Hang on, okay, it's gonna get messy. We're just gonna make this larger so you can see it because I am not getting people reaching out to me for those prizes. So again, Linda Jones and Becky Ray, your prizes, Faylene and Mamu, you got, and I'll bring it back to the table here. You get to have the Whisper White note cards and envelopes and a sheet of dimensionals. Yay! But you got to reach out to me. And if you live outside the US and I can't send you product for your prize, I have other options. So please reach out to me, even if you are not a US resident, okay? I want to make sure that you get your prize. So Faylene, Mamu, and Linda and Becky Ray, please contact me. All right. So, oh, I already have it on this screen. I'm like, why is the screen not moving? You guys don't know. It's, again, in the background. Okay, we have some promotions going on, and I just wanted to bring your attention to one of them in particular, the Designer Series Paper Sale. Yay! If you're loving this Halloween paper, it is for sale right now, 15% off. Let me make sure that I pull that up here so you can see it on my blog. Okay, get that off of there. Sorry. Yeah, I need a backstage person here. There we go. So every blog post that I have, I share at the very bottom things that are going on. So the Designer Series Paper Sale. Click here to shop, click here for more information, click here to download the flyer. So you can visit my blog at stampyourartout.com. Click on the blog portion and you can see up-to-date information at the bottom of every post. So if we click here to shop, it's going to open up a new window in the store, and you'll be able to see all those fun papers that are 15% off this month. There's Magic in This Night Designer Series paper for sale. There's a bunch of them, so you'll want to take advantage of that sale. Another thing that I wanted to mention, besides the fun stuff, coming up in November here, we've got some fun products that I can't wait to share with you. It's called the Curvy Celebrations promotion. But the paper pumpkin. We have another paper pumpkin kit. Every month we have these wonderful kits that come out, and this one is called Joy to the World. It's going to have several cards in it. Let's see, 8 elegant cards, 4 of 2 different designs, and they are holiday/Christmas themed. Let's see here. You can kind of read through here and get the hints, but we don't show the whole kit. You get hints of it, and you can kind of get hints of it here in the design of the box. It's an exclusive box. And so colors are cherry cobbler, crumb cake, early espresso, just jade, and soft seafoam. Can't wait. Yay. There's also going to be a Facebook group because this kit is going to go global. It is going to be one that is offered later on to other markets. So yay for all of you who use A4 size measurements and centimeters. No, I'm just kidding, because I think this kit's going to come in letter size anyways. But yay for all of our European and our South Pacific friends. You are going to also be able to get in on this kit. Let's see here. There's a Facebook group that you can join, and then you can pen pal up with each other and send cards to each other. I think that's all that I needed to, let's see, make sure that we've got that. If you need any of the products that I shared today, you can definitely go to my website and shop there, directly from there. Make sure that you are subscribing to my blog, or my YouTube channel. So click that little like button down there and make sure your notifications are all on. I think that's it. So I'm going to let you guys go. The next time that we get together will be next Wednesday, October 14th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Same place. Look for my link when you visit my channel. It'll be ready to go a couple days before. You can just click there 15 minutes or so beforehand and be ready with a cup of coffee. Be ready to enjoy the next paper crafting project that I have to share with you. Thank you, everyone. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.